Good afternoon and welcome to the KeyHire show for small business. I'm your host and creator of KeyHire, Corey Harlock. Today we are talking about how to be considerate to candidates throughout the job application and hiring process. Now, before we get rolling today, a couple points of housekeeping. If you're listening today and you have some questions, please drop them in the comment box. We love questions. I'm challenging you. Leave a question. We would love for you to do that. And we're doing this every couple weeks. So happy to have you with us, spend your valuable time with us here today. Let's jump in. So in our resource, the four pillars of creating a winning hiring process, the considerate piece is often the piece that's left out. And what do we mean by being considerate throughout the hiring process? And what I'm referring to is having empathy or understanding that the person on the other side of this process is going through their own stuff and anxiety and trying to get time off and meet deadlines and do their job and take care of their family throughout this as well. And I want to kind of break it into three sections, really. So when we talk about being considerate, we talk about the interview process, how we're asking them to communicate with us and make time for us. The second part is through the offer and the negotiation stage, which is another key area where we can really win over someone who is in the hiring process with us. And then the final piece of this, and the piece that is overlooked almost 100% of the time, is the resignation or that transition from their company to your company. So let's kind of look at these. The first one is the interview process. And the example I use all the time is you get a resume of someone who looks great on paper. We get excited. We call them up and say, hey, I just got your resume. We'd love for you to come in. Can you come in tomorrow at 2 o'clock and meet with me? Person on the other end says, yeah, I think I can make that happen. They show up at 2 o'clock. You have an interview. This was great. I think you're going to be really valuable to our team. Can you come back tomorrow and talk to my partner, or come back and talk to the leader of the department? And they say, yeah, I think maybe I can make that happen. And then they leave. That's what happens on our side. Pretty standard. Let's think about what happens on the other side of that. You've called them in the middle of the day while they're probably at work. They could have been standing beside their boss. I hate when people answer their phone and say, I can't talk right now, I'm in a meeting. Like, just let it go to voicemail. But anyway, we don't know where they are when we've called them. And then we've said, hey, can you come in and meet with us tomorrow? Now let's think about, what do they have to do to make that meeting happen? They got to get time off. They're going to have to do something that high integrity people hate doing, and that's lie to their boss and say, hey, I got a doctor's appointment. Can I get the afternoon off? One of my kids has an event. Now they have to use PTO. They're using their time that they put aside for their vacation to come in and meet with us. They show up the next day, and if they're dressed up, what's the joke in the office? Oh, you got a job interview. So they might even change in the car or change in the bathroom before they leave. They jump in their car and they drive to your building. They don't know where it is. They don't know where to park. They don't know where to go when they do park. They don't know who to ask for. It's pretty stressful stuff. They spend some time with, and then you say, can you do that for me again tomorrow? Do that for me again tomorrow. Not the best impression to make with a candidate, right? So how can we be considerate in the interview process? And the KeyHire process is, when we initially reach out to people, we usually do it through whatever email they've provided or text. I like to do text because it's discreet, right? So you could maybe say, hey, it's Corey over here at KeyHire. I just got your resume. It looks great. Can you give me a shout on this number when you have a minute? Much more considerate way to approach the person. Technology is big now. So we always incorporate, instead of, I'm aware how hard it is for people to get time off work, to disappear for a couple hours. So I'm always really clear with my clients, if we're going to bring them on site, let's just do it one time, because we don't want to keep asking them to kind of, got to fix my collars here. We don't want to keep asking them to take time off to do this, right? If they're going to take a half day off work, let's utilize the whole half day, and we can utilize technology for the other interviews. So we always make the first interview a video interview. Everyone can it's much easier for them to accommodate. When we bring them in, we tell them, hey, you're going to be here for 2 hours, maybe 3, depending. We give them an agenda so they know exactly who they're meeting with. They can do a little research on the individual. So we let them know if we're going to be giving them a tour, whatever. We let them know what to expect. So that's kind of being considerate in just setting up that hiring and interviewing process. That's pretty standard stuff. But the next phase is the offer and the negotiation. A lot of the mistake I don't want you to make is I don't want you to make this transactional. Sometimes people will say, oh, we like them, let's just shoot them out an offer. And I really want you as a business owner, a small business owner, to get away from these kind of two worlds. The number one is, I know it's not as much money as you're making today, but you got to trust me. Please quit saying that. Experience has value. These people, you're excited to hire them because they have the experience and the capacity and all the good stuff you need. And no one leaves a job. The huge majority of people do not leave a job to take less money. So please get away from the trust me negotiation tactic. I've seen it backfire incredibly. Just a quick aside, but a client a long time ago, we brought a person in and they would not give them the salary they wanted, but the word was, trust me, we have a very generous bonus program. Now, this is open to interpretation. It's all relative. What was generous to the business owner was actually about 25% of the bonus they had at their other company. And so they ended up being out of pocket a lot of money to take this job. And of course, it didn't last because at that point, they felt kind of taken advantage of. The other thing I really want small business owners to kind of get away from is we want people that want to work for our company. We only want people that want to work for us. And why is that dangerous? Because you're a small business. And the truth is, until I come along or anyone else comes along often, these people have never heard of your company. And they're discovering who you are as we go through. So it's not, I would ask you to rephrase it. Instead of we only want people who want to work for us, say, I'm going to give you a reason why you're going to want to work for me. And that's our job as small business owners. We're not Google. We're not Apple. We don't have clout like that. So we have to prove to them that we're a professional organization to get them to kind of come across and get excited about the opportunity. So when we get into the offer negotiation, it's important to understand, oftentimes in the KeyHire world, we're bringing people from larger companies to smaller companies. So cash is king, cash is a great neutralizer, but oftentimes our benefit package might not be as robust as the one they're coming from. Our bonus program might not be as robust as the one they're coming from. Sometimes they might have long-term incentives, RSUs, restricted stock units, something, those golden handcuffs that keep them around, right? And so we need to understand what they're walking away from. And it has to be a win-win. It can't be a win-lose. And I'll share some examples of what that looks like. This year, working with a fantastic client, and we were hiring a VP level person. And that person came in, and due to the economy, on the day of the interview, day before the interview, they were actually laid off from their job. Now that trust me, or you want to work for us, show me you want to work for us mindset might have had an owner say, now we can go in and offer them less and take advantage of them. My amazing client, who I love working with, when I brought it up and said, hey, I just want to kind of check in and see where we are here. His exact comment was, this is the person we want. We would never do that. He has value. His experience has value, and we want his experience. So we will not even consider that. And I said, thank you. That's fantastic. That's the business owner mindset that helps you get great people and they become loyal. Some other companies will guarantee incentives just to make sure people stay whole, right? It's going to take me 6 months. If I can guarantee an incentive for the first 2 quarters, just to make sure you're not out of pocket and it's not costing you money to come and work with us. I have amazing clients that will do that. Just recently, we brought on with one of our clients an amazing director level role, and we thought we had all our information, and we went back to them, and they looked at the offer and very respectfully came back and said, hey, there are a few things on here that I would like to see if we can move. And they gave it to me. One of them was they were at, I think, 5 weeks vacation, and in the letter it said 3. And I said, well, what if we could get you 4? Would you be happy with 4? And they were like, yeah, I think that would be fair. They were hardballing anything here. And then the base, they just wanted it to move a little bit. And we knew they had an incentive program at their other program. So I went back to my client, this amazing business owner, and said, look, I think if we move the vacation time to 4 weeks, we move $5,000 on the base salary. And this was a conversation we had. This wasn't me just spitting this out, but we sat around at the table and talked about it. Then we guaranteed some incentive for her through the first 2 quarters of employment. That was perfect, right? And what did it cost the employer to get this person who they were really, really excited to have on their bus? It cost them $5,000 in a week's vacation. Of the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot to get someone. So that's where that offer negotiation, don't make it transactional. Don't say, look, this is our offer, take it or leave it. Don't make people leave money on the table. That's really hard for someone to be excited to come and work with you and say, well, I know you have 5 weeks. We're going to give you 3. I know you're walking away from $10,000 bonus. We're not going to cover any of that, or we're not going to guarantee some incentive for you just to make sure we keep you whole, whatever it could be. I know your benefits were paid there. We don't pay benefits here. We need to work with this talent, these skilled people, transformational talent. We need to work with them. And I will tell you through experience, this is where KeyHire really gets into the nitty gritty with our clients. Everyone is usually very willing to be fair. I've never encountered a situation where a candidate was saying, this is where I need to be. I have to have this. If you talk and explain and let people know what's going on, generally most people are willing to be reasonable. So that's kind of the offer negotiation. Understand where they're coming from. Ask the questions. Keep it an open conversation. Check in with people. So here's the one that never happens, and I actually end up doing a lot of work around this. We all want people who are loyal. And oftentimes we will hire someone who has been with their previous company for 8, 10, 12, 15 years. And when it comes to being considerate, we have to understand the level of anxiety that exists for that person, possibly in the first time in their career, to have to resign, to have to go to that boss who they have a personal relationship with and say, I got to give you my resignation. It's hard. And professionals sweat over this. It's not a fun conversation to have. I don't care who you are. It's not fun. So how can we as employers be considerate through that? Because this is where your impact can be the most. We can put them through a great process and be considerate through the process. We can have a respectful negotiation. But if you want to win loyalty with a candidate, this is your chance. Acknowledge that it's stressful. Say to the person, so now you got to give notice. Yep. How do you feel about that? I'm not excited about it. I coach them through it. I'll say, give me a call. Let's have a conversation. I'll walk you through this. I just want to see where you're at. Maybe I can give you some insight. As an employer, you might not be able to do that. But when you use a company like KeyHire, this is what we do, right? Because we're in every part of the process. So I'll coach people through how to give, how to resign, and what to expect, what not to expect, how that all works. But then we'll also coordinate with the stakeholders, key stakeholders in the business. Reach out once they sign that offer letter, and now we know they're going into stressful, I got to resign. Reach out to them, send them a text, leave them a voicemail, send them an email saying, hey, we are so excited to have you on the team. Can't wait for you to get started. I know you have to resign. I know that can be really nerve-wracking. If there's anything we can do to help you out, please don't hesitate to ask. And, I'm going to reach out with you at end of business on Monday. I just want to know how it went. And then text and say, how did it go? You all right? Can we do anything for you? That is how you be considerate through someone resigning and leaving a company to join this company. We've sold them, right? We've shifted from we want someone who wants to work for us to I'm going to prove to you why you should come and work for us. And that will cement it. Doing that extra 5, 10, 15 minutes of being empathetic to this amazing new hire you had and showing them like, you're not even working here yet and we're already taking care of you. That has more impact than the guaranteed bonus, more impact than the extra week of holidays. People will come to work for you if you show them you care about them. So that is my rant. Any questions, please drop them in the box. Agree, disagree, neutral, whatever it is, drop your comments in the box. Let's see what you got. Matt, what do we have today? How badly can a negative candidate interaction affect our future hiring efforts? The simple answer is a ton. A bad hiring or interview process, interview experience is the number one reason people say thanks, but no thanks. In this environment, there are more jobs than people. And we cannot afford to say, well, this is how we run our process. If you can't accommodate us, tough. Because we will run out of people. We'll run out of people to come and we'll end up hiring someone because they're the best of the worst. And as you know, that's not the right way to grow your business. So providing a perfect hiring process that is, we're using the correct process. It's consistent. We're communicating and we're being considerate. Using those elements will get people excited and say, man, if this is how they run their hiring practice, how do they run their business, right? These are real people. But on the flip side, if you give someone a negative experience, your reputation is your biggest recruiting tool. And if someone has a bad experience with your company in the interview process, they are 3 times more likely to never, ever reapply to your company. And they're also more likely to tell everyone they know, yeah, I wouldn't apply there. They didn't treat me very well. So making sure you get it right. And again, I'll go back to being considerate to people. And even if they say, you know what, thank you for your time. I don't think this is going to be the best job for me, but man, I really like how you've treated me, and I might know someone that I would love to recommend to you. I can tell you out of experience, I've had people where I've said, yeah, this isn't a good fit. You're not the person for the job. And because of our interactions have been considerate and professional, and they'll say, yeah, I agree with you, Corey, but I think I have someone who would be perfect. And then they refer people to me because I take the time to listen and understand, and I'm honest with them, and I have consideration for where they are and what's going on in their world. What do we have next, Matt? How can I balance a candidate's schedule with our quick company interview and hiring process. Yeah. So when we talk about the correct process, when we hire, ideally we need to be, I mean, if it's an entry level employee, that should be 2-3 days. If it's a senior level employee, it should be 2 weeks. If we get into VPs and C level, it's going to take longer. It just does. But this is where the communication part of your hiring process becomes important. And the way I found to make sure we're always moving quickly is that every step of the process has to be a go, no go. So if you do a pre-screen and they're a no, tell them they're a no and explain to them why. If they are a yes at that point, after the pre-screen, that's where you communicate to them what the rest of the process looks like. So, hey, this has been great. I need you, send me your resume. And the next part of this is we need to jump on a 45-minute video call. I'd love to do that at the end of this week. Do you have any times that work for you? And then once we're done that video call, we'd like to bring you in to have a visit with us. We know you're going to have to probably take some time off work, and that's going to take a little bit of juggling on your side. So get back to me and let me know if there's a time or a day, morning or an afternoon next week that you can accommodate us. But by communicating it up front and having them understand what it looks like, it enables them to start, shuffling and moving pieces around in their life versus saying, let's do a video interview. Hey, this is great. Okay, now we want to get you on site. Can you come tomorrow? Well, now that's hard, right? But if they know we're on Wednesday today, I'd love to get you on a video on Friday and bring you in the beginning of next week. What works for you? Now they can start planning that. And people are busy. We're busy. They're busy. Everyone's busy. We know that. It's the battle cry of the workforce in North America. We're busy. We're so busy. Super duper busy, right? So let people know what the expectation is in terms of the process and have them start working that out now versus giving them 24 hours to get it done. What's next, Maddie? Should I call? Should I stay or should I go? Should I call, text, email potential candidates? Great. So calling them in this day and age, they don't know your number. They're not going to pick up. I find email or text work really well. To be honest with you, text works really well. But if you're going to text someone, you can't just say, hey, I got your resume. Can we set up an interview? Consideration, right? Understand these people. Hey, it's Corey at KeyHire. I just received your resume for position ABC. Your experience looks great. I'd love to learn more. Do you have time to set up a 15-minute call tomorrow? Let me know what time works best for you. Or do you have time to set up for a call tomorrow at 2 o'clock? They might get back and say, hey, tomorrow at 2 doesn't work, but I can be available at 3. Great. But let them know who you are, why you're texting them, what the purpose of the text is, and then give them, this cryptic, hey, I got your resume. Can I give you a call? That's not enough. They're probably going to say, I have no idea who this is, and they're going to silence that message. So if you are going to text, I find it very effective. I don't think it's too informal. It's the way people communicate. I find it the easiest way for them to get information without it maybe being seen by someone else. Because if you send it to a work email, sometimes people get a little screwy about that. If you call them, we never know where they are or who they're with or if they're even going to pick up. And if you send it to a personal email, the biggest thing I hear, I'll get a response like 3 days later saying, hey, I never even checked this email anymore. Can you call me or text me or whatever? Text, we know they're going to see, right? The open rate on a text is higher than any other way to communicate. So I think that's it. I don't think we have any more. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please check us out. We have our new podcast that we post every other Wednesday when we don't do the live stream. We have the podcast that goes out. We have our YouTube station where you can go and check out all this content, all the videos that we do, all the live streams we do. We have our LinkedIn page where you can stay up to date with all the information we're pumping out there. We'd love for you to follow that page. There it is. And we have a free resource for you there too. So you can schedule a consultation with us if you just want to pick our brain about your particular hiring process, or if you're not having the success you desire. Maybe we can give you some pointers, help you design a process that will give you the advantage over your competition. So until next week, thanks for tuning in to the KeyHire Show for Small Business. We appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks.